Hello, my name is Nicole Hartley Bradford, and this is the first future life progression process that I'm creating, especially for a series called uh, the EcoVillage of Your Wildest Dreams, envisioning it and seeding it. And this will be an ongoing offer that has people come and go who are interested in clarifying the vision that is it comes from their heart, their feelings, their connection with Gaia, and it in a way this process draws that out, draws that up into the mental body, to feel about, to ask questions about, to find next layers about. And then with this material that comes from these future life progressions, and there will be more than one, a layer by layer, this vision of the village of your wildest dreams becomes more clear in you. And so do the parts about now what? How do I become a seed for this village? How do I seed this village? How do I talk about it so that other people can see my vision, and maybe then you send them here so that they can develop, grow, build. I think of it sometimes as 3D printing their own vision. That then you can look at each other's visions and go, oh, these look like the same villages, or these are very different villages. I know someone who you could talk to. And there will also be parts of this series about dismantling fantasy worlds so that this isn't about mm, dreaming and bypassing reality. It's actually about getting clear about the vision that Gaia is granting humans, and the process, the actual process of realizing, bringing into reality these visions as a network of global eco villages that are very close to the earth, because the technology ladder, we've come down the technology ladder. This will be another part of the series, is about healing technopenuriophobia, the fear of being without technology, which brings us down out of our technological towers, our academic towers, and back onto the earth, into the land of practical application of permaculture skills, and even, I would say, arcan permaculture skills, because this is not only about creating a permanent culture, it's actually about creating a regenerative culture that is sourced using the archetypal distinctions and bright principles, the archetypal forces, really, that are become more and more available to human beings as we heal the blocks and limitations and old baggage and old patriarchal thoughtware out of ourselves, and become spaces through which the archetypal can do its work in the world. We become the voice and the hands and the eyes and the ears and the I mean, sometimes I think of it as like a saltwater computer that is coded by Gaia, not by mental, patriarchal, survivalist humans who are obsessed with power structures and winning and mm, avoiding losing, mm, who are obsessed with pleasing and avoiding displeasing, on the two extremes. So this is where it begins. And soon I was joined by two women who have asked me, how did I become so clear about my vision for the Gaian eco village of my wildest dreams? And this drew out of me the retroactively noticing the process that I took myself through in order to build this vision and build my sense of um, integral connection with Gaia and with the Gaian uh, Earth's Coincidence Control Office, so that there could be these weaving together of threads that then gave me this job. Really, my sense is that between heaven and earth, I got this job to envision a kind of heaven on earth and then become a person who could share, empower, and seed the vision so that one day this global network of eco villages can exist that would be able to overgrow the the, the complex industrial machine that human beings have built as a crust over the earth. That is all for now as I await the arrival of the woman. And so here we are, logistically settled. Hannah and Misty, thank you for really initiating this whole project by asking me how it was that I had such a clear vision of the village of my wildest dreams. And I didn't talk much about the extension beyond that when we were together that day in the Uber ride. But the village of my wildest dreams, it turned out with successive progressions and visioning, is part of a global, a vision that's global. So a network of Gaian eco villages. And some of the other ways that I built my vision were through reading certain books and also watching certain films. And I can trace the book list back to when I was 5 years old and reading Rudyard Kipling. And the films also go way back. And there were some strange contributing factors, including information from stories from the Holocaust and then sci-fi too, some really wild sci-fi. In any case, my sense of what it begins with is this first, what I started to call future life progression, which is essentially a guided visualization where, as much as possible, I invite you to bring not just your mental body, your imagination into the future, but your energetic body also and your emotional body, so that you have as much access to the archetypal. And I love, Misty, that you are sitting up for this because you know about yourself that sometimes when you're being guided in a visualization that you might fall asleep. And so I offer this to people who would be watching the recording. If you know that about yourself, certainly be upright. Hannah's trying it lying down. And for everyone involved already here today, I've asked this, but for anyone watching the recording, make sure that you have some paper or a notebook, preferably unlined, and at least one pen and an array of colors if you're that kind of artist kind of person. Because after I deliver the progression, I'll bring you back, so to speak. And the next thing to do will be to capture as much as you can from what you experience during the progression. And it's not going to be particularly long because this is really the foundational adventure. So what you get in this progression will give you the first layer. And then in future progressions, if you decide to listen to them or watch them or show up for them, you'll be able to add more layers. And depending on the layer that's kind of in the works, which I don't plan ahead, there might be like other kind of shadowy corners that we go into to illuminate, and other questions that come in. And then in what will be woven in addition to the future life progressions and the book list and the movie list, are a series of questions to work with. And we'll be using the map of fantasy and pressure and swamp and coming into reality, because I discovered that it's very relevant to make sure that you don't end up going into this kind of la la land of like, oh, this great vision, and then here's my life, and end up in the swamp, because there's these two things and you don't have no idea how to make the vision into reality. And if you do try to make the vision into a reality as a fantasy and pressure yourself into it, I think we all know how that goes. So this is all part of the longer series that kind of has been growing since we were in this fateful Uber ride together. Okay. I'm going to go ahead now and invite you to give your physical bodies a bit of a shake, so that there's aliveness in your physical body as you prepare to essentially energetically and mentally go somewhere else. And notice your physical body. Notice if there's any tension in it. Just drop that tension into Gaia, into the ground, into planet Earth. And I invite you to notice where your energetic center is. So your energy goes where your attention goes. And if you haven't brought your attention really fully back to yourself, there can be like energy leaks into the future, the past, your calendar, conversations you had, people that you're connected with. So I invite you to gather all of that up and bring it and put it on your physical center, which is the grapefruit-sized space between your hip bones, a couple of inches below your belly button. It rests against your spine. This is your center of your own authority. Now that your energetic center is on top of your physical center. And next, I invite you, with a snap of your finger or a tap on your thigh, to declare that you have a grounding cord that connects your physical and energetic center with the physical and energetic center of Gaia, planet Earth. When you've declared your grounding cord exists, will you look at it with your energetic eyes and say out loud what color you see it is? Mine is emerald green.
Mine's tan. It's like a jute cord.
Thank you. How about the other one of you?
Oh, mine is rose.
Okay, your audio isn't picking up so well. No problem.
Mine is rose.
Rose. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Sorry.
you. So centered, grounded, and now I invite you again, with a snap of your finger or a tap on your thigh, to declare that you have a personal bubble distinguishing your personal space from the rest of the world. Go ahead and check with your energetic senses that your bubble is intact. There aren't any holes in it. If there are, disappear that bubble and create a new one. And you can energetically use your energetic muscles to make it bigger or smaller, really put it where you want it to be. And next is the part where you will be relocating as much as yourself as possible into the future. And I would propose that we go for a 10-year future. And how I propose you do it is that rather than moving yourself into the future, bring the future in around you so that and I'll count the years backwards from 10 years from now to 0. And this will be step by step, bringing the future towards you and around you. So 10 years is 10 years ahead. And now it's 9 years ahead. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it is now. And as you lie there and sit there with your eyes closed, 10 years in the future, which is now the present, I invite you to notice the freshness of the air that you're breathing in the morning of this day. You're waking up, you're just waking up in the morning of this day in the village, the EcoVillage, the Gaian EcoVillage, close to Earth, of your wildest dreams. And you're waking up in some kind of bed or nest. What kind of bed would you want to wake up in 10 years from now when you live in the EcoVillage of your wildest dreams? Just notice, sense it energetically. What kind of covers are on top of you? It's fresh air, but is it naturally warm, naturally cold? This bed you're in, what shape is it? Is there someone in that bed with you? If so, just energetically reach your hand to touch them. Say hello. Move so that you're face to face with them, lying down. Just notice what there is to notice about this human being who 10 years from now chosen to be in a bed in the morning with. And clearly they joined you in that bed sometime in the not so distant past. And see what you pick up about that too. And we're going to fast forward a little until you get the impulse to get out of bed. So maybe the person has left the bed before you, maybe they stay in the bed, maybe they get up with you. But whatever the case is, notice what it is and then get out of bed. And what is it that you get out of bed for? What are you excited about to get out of bed for? And just notice if you're naked, if you're wearing something. Notice the bedroom or the space where your bed is. Is it outside? Is it inside? What is around? Just cast your glance around. And then what is your morning routine that you choose that morning? Maybe it's one that you've been doing for years and years. Maybe it's brand new, spontaneous, emerging. But somehow you end up, and again, it can be a bit of a fast forward. You end up wearing what you want to be wearing to go to breakfast. Maybe hours have passed. Maybe it's just been a few minutes. Just get whatever information comes to you about it. It's okay if it's spotty. It's okay if it's sparse. But the next scene is you are going to breakfast. You're going to eat food for the first time in this day. And here's some questions about that. What would you eat? What would you long to eat in the EcoVillage of your wildest dreams? You get to have your wildest breakfast. What is it? Do you make it? Does somebody else make it? Does a group of people make it? And, and where do you have this breakfast? Is it a dining space in the same place close to where you woke up? Or is it somewhere else? Do you need to walk for a while to get there, or ride a bike, or go on cross country skis or snowshoes? Don't worry if you go between seasons. Don't worry if you seem like you're in 5 different eco villages by the end of this. This is how it goes. So the next scene is you sitting down to breakfast. You already have some notions about who made it, what it is. Where did this food come from? Stores, storage spaces, gardens, farms. How much of it came from the village? How much of it came from another village or from somewhere else? Were you part of growing, raising the food? Were you part of harvesting it? Preserving it, perhaps? If not you, who? Maybe there are people around you. Maybe they're even telling the stories of an item on your plate. Who is around? Are there any people that you would call family, soul family? Maybe there's even blood family members. Maybe there are people who you've only met in the few years prior to this day, who you haven't met yet in 2026. And with reference to 2026, I invite you to just open and close your hands into fists a few times, your physical hands. Maybe move your head and shoulders a little bit as you are here in 2026 and simultaneously have the future around you. So breakfast. We're going to fast forward to breakfast has been eaten. And so now the morning workspace, the morning leisure space comes next. What are you going to do? What is in this day of your wildest dreams, in the village of your wildest dreams? Where is there to go in the village? What is there to do? Of course, there's the food part. The food forests. Maybe there are animals that are part of the food supply in this village, maybe not. There would be trees, water sources. There would be work to be done. Is it you who does some of the work of raising the food, growing the food? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, how big is this village anyway? Does it have 50 people living in it? 12? 100? Most eco villages wouldn't be larger than about 120. And most eco villages probably have a good cluster of children in them, especially if they're in the 100, 120 range. A smaller village might have a handful of children. It's not so great for children not to have a children's culture around them. But maybe this is still an eco-village seed that you're in, and maybe you'll slide between some different versions of eco-village that are on different parallel paths up ahead. from 2026. The main question is, what do you do in your morning? Just make some flashes of possibility based on things that your heart, your being, the archetypal adult ego state loves to do, is alive to do, is alive to experience, is alive to create. Maybe there are other jobs in the village. They're your job. Maybe it has something to do with some of the other basics of living than food, clothing, attire. Maybe it has to do with looking after children. Maybe it has to do with being in companionship with some of the elders whose maybe mobility is limited. Maybe it has to do with taking care of the buildings, the spaces. Maybe you work for a while here and another while there and another while there. There will be laundry to do, for example. There will be the offerings of the village to send out into the world, whether they're material or non-material. There will be communications that need to be made. How are they made? The morning rolls, the time rolls, and it's the midday. The sun's high in the sky, and maybe your tummy's hungry for another meal. So lunch. How does lunch go? Where do you go for lunch? Is there a main gathering space in the village? Maybe this is where you had breakfast. Maybe you go somewhere else. Maybe you have a one-on-one. Or maybe you have lunch with one of your teams of 5. Throughout the day, there'll be convergences and divergences as you spend time and do tasks, have adventures with different people from the village. So lunch. What do you have for lunch? Where do you go for it? Maybe on an excursion. And rolling, when lunch is over. And how does things get cleaned up after lunch? Are you part of the cleanup party? Do you clean up fast with a bunch of people? Maybe even going into whiz bang or whiz mode. Maybe somebody takes your dishes away from you and takes care of it all. However it goes, rolling into the afternoon. The afternoon in, or maybe now near, the EcoVillage of your wildest dreams. What do you do after lunch? Do you return to some of the tasks from the morning or do something completely different? Maybe something happens where the whole village is unexpecting of what's happened. Maybe visitors arrive. Maybe a busload of visitors. What are they here for? Where did they come from? How do they know about your village? How would it come about that a busload of visitors would come to your village? Maybe it's you who gets in the village bus and goes somewhere else with some of the other villagers. What for? And how did it come about? Rolling, and remembering that you can listen to this recording again and again and get more layers from the same recording. Rolling to dinner time. Similar with the other meals. Where are you eating this meal? What is it made of? Where did the ingredients come from? Who put them together? Who are you eating with? Maybe it's a silent meal. Maybe there's clusters of conversation. Maybe you take your plate all by yourself and sit somewhere while you eat. However it goes, rolling into after dinner cleanup, and then rolling on into the evening. After dinner, before bedtime, so much could happen. There could be outings. There could be more visitors or the same visitors. There could be special one-on-one time or small group time. Maybe there's a fire somewhere. Different villagers and visitors are drawn to the fire. Maybe singing circle starts or a drum circle. Maybe dancing starts. Remember, this is your village of your wildest dreams. It can be however your heart dreams it, however your connection with Gaia informs it. Rolling, flashing on other images, other scenes, and parallels of the future 10 years from now, which has come around you. Maybe someone arrives who you are so deeply, ecstatically delighted to get to see. Who is that person? Where did they come from? Where have they been? What's your story with them? What's your relational garden with them? What does it have in it? What nourishes you so much to be in relation with them? And how have you built that relational space? Rolling, until you start to be tired. In the end of this day, in the village of your wildest dreams, 10 years from now, which is now. You're tired. You've decided it's time to go to bed. Where do you go? Do you go to the same bed you woke up in? Are you either with someone or alone again? Maybe with somebody else. You get to choose how it goes. You get to connect the dots with how it's been, to how it is. And rolling as you get into this bed, start to settle in for the night. And your mind looks forward to the next days and weeks ahead. What are you looking forward to? What's in the works? How does your village mark the different parts of the year? Maybe there's a birth coming up or a birthday. Maybe one of the elders is coming close to their death or has recently died. How are these milestones of life marked in your village? And as you go to sleep in the night of this day, in the village of your wildest dreams, 10 years from now, I'll count backwards and the years will adjust around you until when I get to 0, you're back in 2026 or whatever the present is when you're listening to this recording. From 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now. You're back in the space where your physical body is, in the time your physical body is, here and now. Give yourself a little stretch and then start to reach for your paper, your notebook, your pen, your writing utensils, and start to write or draw or both, capturing what you saw in your mind's eye, what you experienced energetically. Pause the recording, and you can pause also and take as long as you want or need to do this documentation. Thank you. Thank you for listening to what I know was a quite fast at times and quite a lot of possibilities coming at you at times. Now that this is going to be a recording, you're invited to use it again and again. You can slow it down by pushing pause. You can do it while you're lying down with your eyes closed, or you can do it with a notebook in front of you and be drawing and writing as you go, pausing, broadening it out. I mean, I think a person could use this particular recording multiple times. Probably it could be the only one you ever use, and you'd probably get more and more out of it each time you used it, especially if you give like a month or two in between. So this is a gift to the world. Anyone who who finds the link somehow. I spoke with Misty and Hannah. They've left the space already, but they had no resistance to me making this available publicly. And what the offer is from here is to sign up and register, and I'll put the registration form link in the show notes on YouTube. And it's also on my website, which is NicoleHartleyBradford.com. And sign up, I ask for a one-time joiner amount. And then from there, I ask for month by month, a kind of another donation if you're going to stay in the Telegram group and be engaging with the team. And it's in that Telegram group that I would put future recordings or invite the people in that group to a next call to address whatever questions come up in the people who are participating, to first of all build the vision of the EcoVillage and EcoVillage network of our Gaia's wildest dreams, and then to do the work to seed it and grow it in reality. So there are a lot of parts to that have become clear to me over the decades that I've been doing this work. I think that I did my first future life progression guided visualization in something like 2016. I have not delivered this work except once, just a few months ago, during the last 6 years. And I'm super stoked to be back delivering this and empowering you and maybe other people you know eventually to grow a vision of a brighter future for humanity by creating first in our minds these eco villages and then figuring out by doing it how they can exist in reality and be connected with each other. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being on Team Gaia. I think that it's safe to say that she is super glad you watched this video. Goodbye for now.